Derpity derp 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 derp.
Octopus Prime with you once again for the Cooter Report on the Skeptic Fence Show. Let's see who we got this week.
This is Nancy, who says, my spouse was reading the part of the Bible where God told his people to wipe out cities and take their lands. Why didn't a loving God have mercy on them? That sounds like Islam to me.
Well, it does sound kind of rough, doesn't it? Those wars of extermination have given pause to people through the centuries.
Given pause is, of course, a nice way of saying have made people doubt that there is indeed a loving God out there that actually cares about people. If he's willing to do this shit to people, how can you say that God cares about people and God can number the hairs on your head and all that if he's also willing to just exterminate vast quantities of people in horrid ways? Yeah, that would give me pause, and it has.
But here's the deal. If you look at it this way, assuming you have a culture that has 1,000 really bad people in it. They're murderers, they're thieves, they're rapists, they're having incest, I mean, you name it, they're doing everything horrible. Now, if they have children, what's going to happen? Instead of having 1,000, you'll now have maybe 3,000 or 4,000. And then if nothing has changed them, then they're going to pass it on to the next generation. Then the next thing you know, you've got 10,000 or 20,000 of them. And if it keeps on going, you can have 1 million of them.
The children, the little babies are committing rape and incest. They deserve to be exterminated because they're, what? They were unlucky enough to be born there. That's the point you're trying to avoid, I guess? Is that it's totally fine for God to murder the entire society, which is not just all heathenous adults. There's little kids and everything, and God just murders them all. And that's like Pat Robertson's like, I'll explain to you how it's really not so bad. And this is all just assuming that you have the ability to assume an entire society is bad, like really bad, like worthy of extermination, every last one of them. Because it's not like they went in and only took, like, the bad one. Even their animals got punished. Like, slaughter their animals and shit in the Bible. How the fuck do you explain that? Other than, like, that's some bloodthirsty, weird fucking shit.
So what's the most merciful thing for a loving God to do is to take the 1,000 and get rid of them. And that's what he did. I mean, he sent his people in to say, these people have had, like, hundreds of years, and they are rebels, and they are depraved, and the earth needs to get rid of them. Now, it sounds cruel, but in the long run, it's more merciful.
Yeah, well, that totally sounds like something an all-loving and all-knowing God that created his children and really cared about us. That sounds like something he would do. Instead of, like, he's God. He could just make them not be bad. No. They get exterminated, and then I'm sure sent to hell for eternity. What a cruel, twisted world people like Pat Robertson live in. Like, they can justify any kind of cruelty, eternal cruelty, burning forever, and you deserve it because, I don't know, you were a bad person for a while, or if you were a child, what, how do you blame someone that is just a product of their upbringing for the way they are, like 100%, and in enough to burn them forever? That is some twisted shit, man.
Further, he didn't want his people to be contaminated by those people. So I know that's all hard, but this is God, and I'm not God. I'm just telling you that's a good rationale for what happened.
No, it's not. It's not a good rationale, you fucking idiot. Nor should you having to be coming up with rationale for what God does. You shouldn't have to, like, oh, well, if we explain it like this, maybe it makes a little bit more sense. Like, or God can just get away with anything because he's God. We worship him no matter what. You're a sad sack of shit. Where's your spine? Pat Robertson's spine looks about like that. Probably about the same as his dick.
Yeah, he made himself known through his works with his people too. Some of these other communities of people knew that their God was an awesome God, and yet continued in their
Yeah,
lives.
well, there's so many things, but you read Leviticus, the things that they did, were just appalling. I mean, they had sex with animals, and they had incest, and they did all these terrible things, and they offered their children as sacrifices to their gods. They just went on down the line. It was horrible what they did.
And here we have Pat Robertson saying that it's horrible to sacrifice your children to some god, but we can justify God killing all the children of a society to get rid of the society. That's not bad. It's the same fucking thing, you idiot. And for not realizing that, for being such an idiot, Pat Robertson, you get the Cooter Award for being the dumbest horn kicker I could find this week. See you next time.
Cooter. Derp derp diddy derp 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 diddy derp 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 diddy derp 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 derp